Well, now for something completely similar. Well, the worst thing about when I play the banjo, other than the sound it makes, is that it's not exactly a shortcut to popularity. It's sure not a babe magnet, I know that. Playing banjo to impress girls is like smoking meth to grow teeth. And it's all because the movie Deliverance was a public relations catastrophe for us banjo players. Deliverance did to the banjo what the Hindenburg did to blimp travel. So how many people traveled here today by blimp? See? And I've heard all the disparaging banjo jokes, like, how many banjo players does it take to eat a possum? One to eat the possum, one to watch for cars. That's not funny. Hey, if you're not part of the solution. Now, nobody here today will be in favor of racism or sexism or ageism, but sadly, as we've just seen, banjoism continues unabated. You may not realize this, but the movie Deliverance came out in 1972. And even now, 42 years later, I still can't carry a banjo case down the sidewalk without somebody going, like some kind of musical slur. And I realize there are people here today who were born after 1972 who've never even seen this movie. Good. Don't. The only way the banjo will ever be cool again is for everybody who's seen this movie to just die off. You know, with just a few minor changes to the movie script, my life could have been completely different. Could have been. Anyway, so by now you might be wondering, so is this guy's talk somehow going to help make the world a better place? You call this an idea worth spreading? Is this subject matter really TED-worthy? Yes, yes, and yes. Because my talk today is really about self-esteem. Yeah. And what it might be like to have some. You see, people who shape the world have to have the courage to be true to themselves and do what they love, even if it might mean being unpopular. You think Nelson Mandela ever worried about being unpopular? Of course not. You think Rosa Parks or Jonas Salk or Frank Lloyd Wright or Van Cliburn ever worried about being unpopular? Of course not. Oh, and if you don't know all those people, Van Cliburn, he was like the Earl Scruggs of the piano. And Frank Lloyd Wright, he was like the Earl Scruggs of architecture. Okay. You think William Wilberforce or Dietrich Bonhoeffer ever worried about being unpopular? Of course not. Well, see, I happen to be an expert on being unpopular. After facing years of a brutal social stigma, shared only by accordionists and bagpipers. Are there any accordionists or bagpipers here today? What do you play? Oh, keep on squeezing that bag. I'm there for you. I guess the rest are just too beaten down to even raise their hand, but I'm there for you too. So anyway, leaders and innovators have to have the courage to follow the beat of a different drummer. And it just so happens that the banjo is really nothing more than a drum with strings. So that makes it pretty different. There you go. That was nothing. And we're fixing to stomp a hole in the floor. Well, the word banjo gives us a simple, easy to remember acronym that can help give you the courage to be true to yourself and do what you love, even if it might mean being unpopular. like myself. So first, be. Be the ultimate you. No one else is as good at being you as you are. No one else can fulfill your assignment on this planet. You need to know yourself, like yourself, respect yourself, and be yourself. And since there's only one you, you've got a complete monopoly on that whole supply and demand thing. And look at it this way. Elvis never impersonated anybody. I told you it was Ted worthy. See? A, don't be a jerk. I had another A word in there for a while, but I changed it at the last minute, so. When I say don't be a jerk, work to cultivate your best traits and work to conquer your worst traits, okay? Love yourself just the way you are, but love yourself too much to let yourself stay just the way you are. That's not even funny, you know? Anyway, N, never worry about fitting into the in crowd. So many people devote their lives to following the latest trend so they can be just like everybody else. And in the process, they purge everything unique and wonderful about themselves and become totally generic. Never let the world squeeze you into its mold. And remember this, being unpopular is often your first indicator that you are by nature a trendsetter, not a trend follower. And besides, see? You didn't believe me. The next letter. Oh, I can't spell too good. No, and besides, most of the people I've ever known who are in the in crowd were associated with the previous letter. That is the previous version of the previous letter that I later changed. So J, just be the ultimate you. Don't be a jerk. Never worry about fitting into the in crowd. See, J is kind of a recap letter, in case anybody might have drifted off. There's a lot of short attention spans nowadays. Sad. And O, if someone else is not okay with the real you and can't appreciate you for how unique and wonderful you really are, then they're the one who has a problem, not you. Am I right? Okay. Now let's go make the world a better place. But first, who wants to hear some good music? Okay, get back in your car. Head north on 75. Stay in the right-hand lane. Take the Nashville exit. Be sure to stop off at the birthplace of Earl Scruggs. And please take off your hat. I'm just kidding. Who's ready for some Bluegrass? Okay, yeah. Because it's legal now in 2 states. But that doesn't make it right. So let that be a lesson to you kids. See, this here is purely medical bluegrass. I've got a prescription. Anyway, before I play, the makers of Gibson banjos have asked me to announce that this is not one. So let's start off with this classic bluegrass favorite. Here we go. So call me maybe. Yeah, I do bluegrass adaptations of all the world's greatest rock and roll songs ever written. That's off my 17th album. It's for sale in the lobby. 3 easy payments of $19.95 each. And that's just shipping and handling. Oh, someone screamed out one more? Okay. You guys. One more. Here we go. Gangnam Style. Yeah, I do bluegrass adaptations of all the world's greatest Asian rock and roll songs ever written. That was a huge hit in Pyongyang. So, oh, someone screamed out one more? You guys. Okay, one more. Here we go. What should I play? Okay. I'm all about that bass, no treble. Yeah, do bluegrass versions of all the top #1 pop hits. I had to Google what it was, but you know. Anyway. I don't have time. See you. Okay, one more. You guys. So before I came up, Jim Young gave me 3 words of advice. He said, make it fun. So we're going to find out if a room full of TED heads still remembers how to have as much fun as a room full of junior high TED heads yesterday, because they set the bar pretty high yesterday. This place was off the hook. This is going to be the audience participation portion of the show. How many people here have ever clapped your hands and stomped your feet along to the third movement of Orpheus in the Underworld, written by Jacques Offenbach in 1858? Pretty much everybody. Good. Okay. Well, most people don't call it that. Most people call it the can-can. No, I chose it because if I can, you can, and together we can. One word of caution. When you combine a high-energy song with the life-giving effervescence of the banjo, it's clinically proven to be impossible to sit still. So if you have to jump out of your seat, run up here on stage, and join in a spontaneous high-kick line dance, I totally understand. But please, no twerking. Heather. There's ramps on either side. It's a pretty big step if you come up like this. You have to jump like Michael Jordan to get up here this way. And if you don't follow sports, he's like the Earl Scruggs of basketball. So please feel free to come on up. Nobody's going to stop you. It's a free country. For now. Whoa. I said no twerking. Stop picking on the banjo.